In this video, I'm continuing my playthrough of a scenario from the Great War at Sea, Mediterranean. And I think the scenario is called Sacro, Egoismo, or something like that. And we're now up to April 21st of 1912. This is part of the Italian-Ottoman War, and this is some action going on in the Mediterranean. And it starts out with a clear day on April 21st, and the Italian fleet of transports and escorts finally land in Tripoli, where the transports begin to unload their cargo. And then the Garibaldi and the Veresi bombard the coast of Turkey again. This is occurring near the island of Rhodes, and so this creates more victory points for Italy. And then 4 torpedo boats land in the port at Augusta. Then on the Ottoman side, the Turkish have 3 destroyers that enter the port in Beirut. And another Turkish fleet makes contact with Italian ships in the Aegean again. This is the Filiberto and the St. Bon are the Italian ships, but the Italians do not get entangled with them and are able to flee to safety. Now we go to April 22nd of 1912. And it's daytime, but there's mist and fog. And we start to have a little bit of activity here in the eastern Mediterranean, about 75 miles off the coast of Turkey. The Turkish commander has the initiative, and the Breen and gunship, 2 battleships, a cruiser, and 2 coastal defense ships are in his fleet. And the Barbarossa, the Torgud, the Medjida, the Tevek, the Asar Tevek, and a number of other ships here. The Italian fleets basically are torpedo boats plus the Garibaldi and the Veresi. So they end up spotting each other, and a battle ensues, and the Garibaldi and the Veresi both fire at the Turkish battleships. Unfortunately, they fail to hit. The Barbarossa fires back, misses, but then, interestingly, the Torgud Rise takes out 2 of the Veresi's secondary guns. So that's not good for the Italians. The Garibaldi scores a hit on one of the Barbarossa's primary guns, but then the Garibaldi is hit by a hit on the torpedo mount and then struck in the secondary gun. So that didn't go so well. I mean, this is starting to look scary for the Italians. The Barbarossa takes out another of the Garibaldi's secondary guns, and then another secondary gun is lost on the same ship. Then the Garibaldi takes a hull hit, and things just do not go well here. Then things just went downhill from here for the Italians. The Garibaldi finally was completely finished off and sunk, and I believe it's 32 victory points. For some reason, I forget why. I think it's double, but it's 16 victory points times 2. 32 victory points. Not a very good situation. And the Barbarossa continues firing, and then the Veresi is also sunk. I believe that's another 32 victory points. These ships, I think, are armored cruisers. So this is just a disaster here for the Italian Navy. And at this moment, the score is Turkey. The Ottomans have 148 victory points, and the Italians have 143. So this is like not going well at all. Then for the next few turns, the weather turns into squall, and there's really no action during those turns. On April 23rd, not much happened, but a couple of the Italian fleets met, and then reorganized themselves into one fleet, and then fog set in for a couple of turns. Then on April 24th, the Italians, led by the battleship Roma and Napoli, and the transport fleet and their escort, land finally back into Taranto, where they can refuel and reload their transports. Then moving on to April 25th, the Turkish fleet out in the Mediterranean, the East Mediterranean, lands at Smyrna. Here they're going to refuel. And this is, again, the Barbarossa, the Torgad, and some of the gunships, and the cruiser Medjidiyah. Meanwhile, the Italians' transport fleet set sail again, headed back for Tripoli. And also, by the end of the turn, the Barbarossa is all refueled and ready to go, along with the rest of the fleet, and heads back out into the Eastern Mediterranean. Then we go on to April 26th, and here two Turkish gunboat, or I guess they're torpedo boats, Antalya class torpedo boats. They had no action. They ended up returning to port in Beirut to refuel. And then there were no actions on the next few turns. So we go into April 27th of 1912. There was no contact by any of the two sides during this turn. And also on April 28th, there was no contact. So that's kind of how things wrapped up. The final score ended up being the Ottomans had 148 victory points, Italy 143. So the way it works in this system is the highest victory point total wins, and it's as simple as that. There's not really any graded victory, but when you consider from the beginning, I thought the Italians had quite a bit of an advantage, but they were spread out and had a number of different missions going on. And the Turks seemed to have some weaker ships and kind of wanted to avoid contact. But what ended up happening is when, the two armored cruisers got sunk, that pretty much sealed the fate. That really got Turkey a lot of victory points and some, obviously some positive press. So that's probably what made the difference. Those two ships, the Garibaldi and the Varese. So that's kind of how it ended. Anyway, I thank you for watching this series, and I hope you have a great day.